Back at Daytona under caution. You've been watching at home, and you see that's Jordan Anderson, obviously uncomfortable, but waving to the crowd. He took a big hit. 11 different trucks involved in that incident.
He's looking to bypass the stretcher.
And there's Brett Moffitt, the defending series champion, one of those involved. And boy, what a tough night for Moffitt. Was penalized a couple of times tonight. The 51 of Christian Eckes, our pole winner. Johnny Sauter, who has been out front for nearly a dozen laps tonight, heavily involved.
So many of the real good trucks in this race. Let's take a look here.
The 2 of Creed right there in the middle, and
it looked like Jordan Anderson had some sort of an issue and slowed, it looked like. Well, and then Creed ran in the back of him.
Not sure Sheldon Creed had anywhere to go.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah, Jordan looked like the left front tire looked a little funny on that truck. Possibly maybe a left front tire going down.
You know, Phil, he was running, Jordan was in the 5th position when they entered turn 1 and 2. We were on board the truck behind him, and there were sparks coming from behind the truck. I think maybe Jordan felt something was going wrong and pulled up. I don't know.
Maybe trying to get out of the way.
Moffitt, Sauter, Snyder, Gus Dean, Jordan Anderson, of course, Sheldon Creed, Grant Enfinger, Stuart Friesen, Austin Wayne Self, Brennan Poole, Christian Eckes, all with varying degrees of damage.
I just don't think Jordan realized that the 2 of Creed was inside of him as much as he was. Came down a bit. Angela Ruck's just doing a great job running up inside the top 5. We're going to hop on board with her and watch all this materialize. There's Jordan when he went up. She filled that hole.
Back in the mirror, nice
and then look behind her.
Wreck it behind you. Wreck it behind you. Caution the wheel.
From Brett Moffitt's view.
Brett Moffitt got hung on the outside. Nowhere to go really for all these trucks once the contact was made with the 3 of Jordan Anderson.
I just think Jordan tried to maybe close a hole that Sheldon Creed had already occupied, and racing inches apart. Certainly understand how easily that can happen.
Thank goodness for those safer barriers.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Phil, I started to say the exact same thing because Jordan Anderson just pounded that outside wall at a bad angle.
What a nice job Matt Crafton does. He's going to take a hard left here when he sees this.
Slow down, slow down, slow down. Go low, go low, go low. All the way low. Watch the debris.
Jerry, fire back up.
Come on. Watch him slide across you. Watch this too. Hammer down right here. Now watch pit road. Watch pit road. Slow it down. Pit road speed. We're okay.
And when you were riding along with Matt Crafton, did you see that gap that he had in front of him? He was expecting issues, and they happened. But I was more interested in Jordan Anderson and what made him move to the outside. We saw him running in the top 5, right on the bottom of the racetrack, and he moved up down in turns 1 and 2, seemingly for no reason.
And we saw those sparks, though. I wonder where those sparks came from, too, Michael.
There you see the
blue truck right there.
Anderson on the back. There's big sparks. We haven't seen that out of the truck.
Something's bottoming it out more so than it had been. He's a little, you see the gap in front of him now, so he's already has slowed a bit.
But he gets a big push down the back and then pulls out of line. And when he did so, that's when problems began.
Watch the 2 of Creed. We'll get to that back bumper of the 3 of Anderson right here.
Even more sparks now than he had before.
Something seemingly was going wrong with the 3 truck. Now that doesn't excuse him from cutting off Creed and getting in this big crash, but we haven't seen this out of that truck yet. That's hard bottoming out. But despite that, when he got on the straightaway, he had this big push from Angela Ruck and was able to drive around the trucks on the outside, Sheldon Creed. And then that caused the issue when they got to turn 3.
Yeah, that was turn 1 and 2 right there when they were side by side. Jordan Anderson and Sheldon Creed.
And there you see the 11 drivers involved in this incident. Jordan Anderson, by the way, we saw him holding his shoulder. He had off-season shoulder surgery. So it was certainly looked to be in a fair amount of discomfort, but it was good to see him waving to the crowd and walking to the ambulance.
you can say, Vince.
Crazy night at Daytona, and the defending series champion Brett Moffitt, you ride with him here. He's done for the night. After a big accident that involved 11 vehicles, one of those driven by Brett Moffitt. He's with Hermie.
Yeah, Vince, first of all, glad to see, Brett, you're out of the care center and doing fine. And you mentioned it before we came on the air, 3 years in a row at this racetrack, you end up on the hook. What happened?
It looks like the 3 just had a tire going down through 3 and 4 there, and we were all 3 racing hard, and he just couldn't get out of the way. So I'm really just gutted because that was hands down the best Speedway truck I've ever driven. Oh, I guess the 2 got into him, but it's Speedway racing. It's going to happen. It's unfortunate. It took out pretty much our whole team. So, man, I'm just gutted for the GMS guys because they worked so hard, and that truck was so fast. I was able to drive right back to the front there and kind of control the lines. So it was fun while it lasted. It was good to get racing again, and hopefully have a lot better luck next week in Atlanta.
We saw Jordan Anderson take that big hit at the beginning of that accident previously involving those 11 vehicles. He's with Hermie.
Yeah, right, Vince. No other way to describe that. A big hit for you. Glad you're out. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm all good. Just thinking these race cars are built safe. That's probably for me the hardest that I've ever had in my career, and just hate the night ended the way it did. You know, we had a really good run going. I heard the second group had jumped up there and tried to get up there and link up with them, and the closing rate was just too big. Got hit there in the left rear and just kind of along for the ride at that point. And, you know, doing my own program this year, more than anybody, I hate tearing race cars up, and it hurts me to see that many guys get caught up in that and killed our race car. And we had a really good night going. We just kind of really laid back there the first 2 stages and just tried to do our own thing. And I thought we put ourselves in a good spot to jump up the top 5 there, and just didn't time it too right and just got in a bad spot. But so thankful for all the fans and all our partners that make this happen. We had FVP and Bomb Reed Automotive Group continue their support of us this year in Lucas Oil. And, you know, last year was my first year as a team owner, and we're going to try and do it again this year. Wish we could start our season off with another top 10 like we did last year, but just thankful we're okay here.
We saw some sparks out of your truck, as you can see, through turns 1 and 2. Prior to the issues that you had at the other end of the racetrack, do you have any warning of anything else that may be going wrong?
Yeah, you know, we hadn't run up on the high side all night. We were on mainly the bottom the entire night, and jumped up there into 3 and bottomed out. You know, we just hadn't had a run up there, and I bottomed out real hard, and I think that's what slowed the truck up as much as it did and allowed that second group to catch us like they did, and just didn't expect the closing rate to be as much as it was, and just didn't time it right. So, I apologize to all those guys that got their stuff torn up. And for my guys, I mean, this is a setback for us. We've only got 1 Super Speedway truck, and that thing had really done well for us last year. So, thankfully, we've got a little bit of time until Talladega to get this stuff fixed up. So, we've got our Atlanta truck put together, and we're going to go dig hard and hopefully rebound next week with a better finish. So thank you guys for all your support, and we'll be back at it.
Glad you're okay.
Thanks, Hermie. Appreciate it.
Indeed.